Hey everybody, it's Tom. What I would like to be doing right now is talking about how exciting it is that Heartstopper Season 2 finally has a release date. We're getting more Heartstopper in August, and that's awesome. But unfortunately, some things have been happening that I really want to talk about. Also, the cats are eating in the background and wobbling their plates around, so apologies if you can hear that. So I don't I don't like doing super serious videos. I like to focus on queer joy rather than the trauma that we go through sometimes. But unfortunately, there's a lot going on that kind of is not so happy. So we're gonna talk about it a little bit because I need to talk about it, and there's also a chance that some of you don't even know that it's happening. So I want to get the word out, though there's people who are doing that way better than me. But in any case, many of you already know that there has been an onslaught of anti trans legislation being proposed and in some cases passed in the United States this year. Obviously, it's been over a longer period of time than that, but especially over the last few months, it's just been building and building and building to a ridiculous degree. And if you want to learn more about that, Ty Turner has an amazing video that he just recently put out about that. So definitely go check that out if you want to learn some more about that. But we are going to talk about specifically a representative from Montana named Zoe Zephyr and what has been going on with her lately. Okay, so Zoe Zephyr is a trans woman who was elected to the Montana House of Representatives. And recently, Montana has been talking about passing some anti trans legislation, specifically regarding like blocking gender related care for youth. Zoe, being a trans woman who understands how important gender affirming care is for trans kids, spoke up about this. And it was clear how passionate she felt about it. And she closed out her very moving testimony by saying that if the House voted in favor of this bill, there would be blood on their hands. And yeah, they didn't like that. So being told that they were complicit in harming children with their bill that harms children, they decided to prevent Zoe from speaking during any session of the House. So she would be there, ready to speak on bills, ready to represent the people she was elected to represent, and the speaker would never call on her. They would just ignore her completely and not let her speak. So this went on, and the people that Zoe represents and many others were understandably upset by this because, here we have this trans woman being silenced for speaking up on an issue related to the treatment of trans people, and the Republican led House are not allowing her to speak, not just on that, but on anything, which is what she was elected to do. So their whole line is that, oh, decorum, fra 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 fra. So they felt that her comments were out of line. I mean, now not considering the fact that these same people have flung, comments towards trans people. These people clearly have said far worse things and far more insulting things. But because she disagreed with them and tried to hold them accountable, they decided to silence her. So there were growing protests, and finally, like a group of her supporters protested around the house. They came into the chamber. They were chanting, "Let her speak! Let her speak!" The speaker called like the riot squad on them. So like you had police in riot gear like escorting them out and arresting people and all this stuff, and just this iconic image of like the representatives had all left the chamber and just Zoe was standing in the middle holding up her microphone like the Statue of Liberty or something, and all around all you can hear is just let her speak, let her speak. Really powerful. If you haven't seen the footage of that moment, I definitely recommend checking it out. And afterwards, she spoke to some reporters, and just like the emotion in her voice was so easy to hear. But in any case, so today, the Montana legislature voted to silence her permanently for the rest of the year. And it passed just now, like right before recording this video. So basically, they have now made it so she can still vote on bills, but she's not allowed to say anything. She's not allowed to speak. She's not allowed to express her opinion. She's not allowed to say a word. Just, I can't really express how wrong that is and how angry that makes me and how ridiculous it is that it's even legal to do that to to an elected representative on such a shaky basis. Like, these people can call their opponents baby murderers and, pedophiles and all this stuff, but Zoe rightfully points out that anti-trans bills harm trans kids, and she's no longer allowed to speak. So, yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that that was going on. Nothing makes me angrier than injustice, and this is just such an injustice. It's really depressing to see this kind of thing happening and to know that it's going to keep happening. And the scariest thing is that, the Republican Party has fully embraced this as their new issue, their new distraction, to be honest. They're waging an all-out war against trans people, and if they get control of the country, they already have a majority in the Supreme Court. And if they get control of the presidency, the Senate, the House, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I have literally had to start thinking about the fact that I might genuinely need to flee the country at some point in my life in order to live as myself. And that is a scary fucking thought. Like, I should not have to be thinking about that. Trans kids should not have to be fleeing their home states. Parents of trans kids should not have to be fleeing to prevent their children from being taken away from them. Now, the important thing to remember is that the anti-trans folks are the minority. There are more of us than there are of them. But unfortunately, they are louder, and a lot of them are in positions of power. And, what can we do? We need to keep speaking up. We need to keep protesting. We need to keep voting for people who are not going to regress us back into the dark ages of, Florida is already trying. Like, if you are not aware of what has been happening in Florida, first, there was a law proposed that would make any kind of drag in front of children seen as a sexual crime against children. So a sexual offense for being seen in drag in front of a child, which can easily be translated into a trans person existing in public where there are children. Next, they voted to make sexual crimes against children punishable by death. So, do the math here. Like, being trans, being in drag is a sexual crime, and sexual crimes are punishable by death. Now, I don't think this has fully passed, but it's there. Like, it's literally setting the path here for murdering trans people for being trans by law. I would like to encourage everyone to keep an eye on things, keep an eye on where things are going. It's not easy to see what's happening and to stay informed because there's so much just horrible stuff. And even looking at, Zoe Zephyr, the representative I spoke of earlier, her partner, Erin Reed, is a journalist who has been covering this whole story. And you should definitely follow her on Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or wherever. She pretty much follows every trans-related bit of legislation going on in the country. And it's depressing, but it's also important. And, yeah, just briefly looking through the comments on her posts about Zoe and about what's been going on, like there's some horrible things. Like people say such horrible things. And sometimes I wonder, like, are you aware that you're speaking to another human being? Like, do you know, can you understand how awful you're being? I don't know. It just boggles my mind. So anyway, this has gotten a bit scattered, and I have a pizza in the freezer to cook because pizza for dinner sounds like, I mean, it's good enough for Tori Spring, it's good enough for me. Yeah, pizza for dinner sounds excellent after everything that's going on. But yeah, so in addition to many other things, this kind of thing has been perpetually dragging my mood down lately because there's just so much. There are just so many people who are actively working to make being who you are illegal, which is just so wrong on so many levels. But of course, the number one group that they're hurting everyone, but the most vulnerable group that they're hurting are trans kids. And if there's a trans kid in your life, make sure they know that you love and support them and that you will fight for them. And if that means all of us packing up and moving to Canada where it's colder than it is in Chicago, I guess that's what we'll have to do. But hopefully it won't get to that point. So, okay. All right, that's all from me. Thank you for watching or listening or whatever you did. Thank you for being here. And thank you, as always, for your support. You guys are amazing. All of you are amazing. And I'm very thankful that I have you guys in my corner. So, okay. All right. I will see you guys next time.